Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. The program Focal Point, the network, the American Family Radio Talk Network. Number to call if you want to join the conversation. Love to have you weigh in on what is going on in D.C. with President Obama going out of his way, deliberately erecting barricades to block access to 91-year-old Army veterans in wheelchairs from being able to visit war memorials that are in honor of the wars that they fought. I want to know what you think about that. 888-589-8840 is the number to call, and we'll make that the topic of what we talk about in the phone calls here in this segment. And you can weigh in for the rest of the program on that topic. 888-589-8840. Love to know what you think about President Obama erecting these barricades to keep our veterans from being able to go to these monuments. And we'll talk some more with Steve Palazzo at the bottom of this hour about that issue. Now I'm looking, I had three separate stacks of stuff on the shutdown, and one stack has to do with these barricades thing. Let me see if I can find that stack. Where is that stack? I got a whole stack here on these barricades. Here we go. Yeah, here we are. Here's the barricade stack. And I just want to give you a couple of more details on this before we go to the phones, 888-589-8840. And again, remember that these memorials are closed according to the signs that are posted, closed to everything except First Amendment activities. Well, right there, I mean, that is their constitutional warrant to be there because the First Amendment guarantees the right to peaceably assemble. That's the word, to assemble, and to do it peacefully. Well, those vets are going to peaceably assemble. These 91-year-old vets are not going to show up at one of these war memorials and trash the place. They're not going to commit vandalism. They're not going to spray paint it. They're not going to take sledgehammers to the stonework. So they are going to peaceably assemble. They have the constitutional right to do it. And by the way, this is something that a lot of people don't know. I just found out about this morning. And that is that this World War II memorial, by the way, the order to barricade these things came directly from the White House. So don't let anybody lie to you about that. It came from the Office of Management and Budget, which is in the White House. So the order to barricade vets from their own memorials, that came from the White House. Carol Johnson, who was with the National Park Service, she agreed. She said they were told, or she confirmed this, they were told to close the site by the White House's Office of Management and Budget. And here's the other thing. This World War II memorial that President Obama doesn't want these veterans to visit was funded almost entirely by private contributions. A fundraising drive was held. $197 million in cash and pledges was received. Support came from hundreds of thousands of individual Americans, hundreds of corporations and foundations, veterans groups, dozens of civic, fraternal, and professional organizations, states and one territory, and students in 1,200 schools across the country. This is a piece from Washington Times. The costs of the project include site selection and design, construction and sculpture, a National Park Service maintenance fee. So even the fee to the National Park to maintain that place, that came out of private donations. The fee required by the Commemorative Works Act, groundbreaking, dedication ceremonies, fundraising, and the 11-year administrative costs of the project from its inception in 1993 through completion in 2004. In other words, every dollar that was used to build the World War II memorial came from private pockets. Not a dollar of coercively extracted taxpayer funds involved in that project at all. And Barack Obama, Commander-in-Chief, has the nerve to keep these guys from visiting a memorial in their honor and that they paid for in more ways than one. All right, let's go to the phones, 888-589-8840. What do you think? I mean, I've obviously gotten pretty worked up over this thing, as you can tell, pretty energized about this because I think this is just beyond, absolutely, completely beyond the pale. And again, as I said throughout the program, we're getting a peek into Barack Obama's heart here as the Commander-in-Chief, and it is not a pretty picture. That is a dark, dark place down in there. We are looking into the heart of darkness here, and that's now being revealed for the whole world to see. Let's go to Susan, Dallas, Texas. Susan, welcome to Focal Point with Brian Fisher. What's on your mind?
Hi, thanks for taking my call. I just want to say I'm so thankful for AFR because I only started listening about 10 months ago, and it's like the scales were taken off my eyes, and I'm seeing the world for what it is, and
Wow.
I'm so thankful for you.
Wow, fantastic. Well, praise God for that, and thank you for the kind words.
For this situation, it's only surprising if we actually expect this administration to react in a moral and biblical way. So for that reason, I'm not surprised. I also think that we are working under the understanding, or we're believing, that possibly this administration actually cares about this country, and we're scratching our heads going, what on earth is going on? But if we flip that and we say, what if he's not working in the best interest of this country? Suddenly things make a whole lot more sense. And that's my biggest fear, and that's why I hope that this country falls on its knees and wakes up from this nightmare and fights back for this country.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much, Susan, for that call. And you know what Susan brings up, and we've touched on this before, but I think it is a disturbing possibility that, and I believe it to be true in my case. You may not. You may still need to be persuaded of that. But I believe that Barack Obama has malevolent intentions toward this country. I believe Susan is right, that it's really his intention to use the power of his office to punish this country. He believes we are a racist country from our inception. He said at one point it's in our DNA, and he said because it's in our DNA, it can't be fixed. I mean, this is, I'm paraphrasing, but this is the template from which he operates. We are racist to the core. We are corrupt, greedy, an evil nation from our very inception. This corruption is so deep in our DNA that it cannot be eradicated. It cannot be fixed. It cannot be healed. Therefore, this nation, as it was founded, must be destroyed to kill that racist virus that's animated this country from day one. So I believe he is on a search and destroy mission to bring this country to its knees. He wants to be the agent of discipline. He wants to be the agent of wrath to punish this nation for its colonial excesses, of which there are none. And you name it, you run down the list. That's what he's about. And so Susan may be right. If that's the template from which he's operating, then nothing like this should surprise us. It shouldn't surprise us that he's hostile toward the veterans that gave us the freedom that we enjoy. Let's go to Mule Skinner in Sanford, Texas. Mule Skinner, welcome to Focal Point with Brian Fisher. What's on your mind?
Hey, God bless you, brother.
You an actual mule skinner?
Well, I cowboyed on a mule for years, and then when I started doing ministry on a bike, my name stuck with me, so everyone across the country knows me as Mule Skinner.
All right. Well, one of my favorite songs from the 60s, I mean, this is in my all-time top 10 songs, is the Mule Skinner Blues. I don't know, Jeff, if there's any way you can grab part of that. We ought to play some of that in the next hour, just in honor of this caller. Anyway, Mule Skinner, go ahead. What's on your mind?
Well, I'm a Marine Corps veteran, and the Lord blessed me. I got to go to the Vietnam Wall in '07, and of course my stepdad and my dad were both Korean veterans. It just is it's appalling that cousin Barack, and I say cousin because he's not a Christian, so he's not my brother. Ishmael was the founder of the Islamic nation, so he's a cousin by blood in there. But if he was to try this with the Vietnam Wall or even the Korean Wall at the age of them men, he couldn't do it. Why would he want to do this?
Now, why are you saying he couldn't do it with the Vietnam Memorial?
Brother, do you know who we are?
Well, I guess that's what I was getting to. So what you're suggesting is he's picking on these 91-year-old vets in wheelchairs just because he can. He wouldn't try this with the Vietnam War Memorial because he knows they couldn't physically get away with it.
Do not be surprised if the brothers don't rise up. We're tired of it. I just sold my motorcycle. The Lord had moved me. I got rid of my bike, but I guarantee if I need it, I can make a phone call, get another sled, and I can be out there. This has got to stop. He's got to realize that the public is calling for something different, and the Lord's calling. If we don't get on our face now, actually I've been praying that he would bomb Syria. I prayed that he'd do it. That'd bring on the Third World War, bring on Armageddon, bring on the rapture. I get to go home. I'm tired. I'm tired.
Well, I know a lot of people share your, deep concern about the future of this country, and obviously A lot of us think that there may be prophetic implications to what is going on around us right now. And I believe you're exactly right. I think it's time for God's people to pray. That's why we start every day. I mean, today, I wasn't thinking specifically of Barack Obama, but it's very clear that God has the capacity to remove from public office. He did that with Uzziah because he began to promote corruption and wickedness in his land. He went in to burn incense before the Holy of Holies. He was confronted by spiritual leaders. And that's another thing we need. We need spiritual leaders like the priest to rise up and stand with one voice and say to this politician, what you are doing is wrong. And then God, I mean, with Uzziah, he was afflicted with leprosy. I mean, the priest didn't have to do anything. They didn't inflict that leprosy on him. They didn't inject him with something. They just stood firm against this politician who was abusing and misusing his political power and said to him, what you are doing is wrong. And because these, the clergy, if you want to use that term, these pastors, 80 priests led by Azariah, because they stood firm with one voice, stood united,
Exactly.
God honored that, and this corrupt politician was removed from office. So God, God has the power to do that.
Well, and I pray God. I think God's just trying to get us on our face. I think if Barack keeps doing what he's doing, the Lord's trying to get his people together. So let Cousin Barack have this country. But if we unite and get on our face, then the Lord's ready to come back. That's what he's waiting for. And I look at it that way also.
All right. Well, thank you for the call, Mule Skinner. I really appreciate that. Mule Skinner from Sanford, Texas. And the vets came back this morning. They went to the Lincoln Memorial. They went through the barricades. And basically what they said is, hey, Hitler couldn't stop us, and Barack Obama isn't going to stop us either. Focal Point, AFR Talk. Back after the news. Stay with us.